Jeremy, have you kind of caught them up to speed on what we're going to cover today, or?
No, I just wanted to give it a couple of minutes waiting for you to get on the horn. Like you just make this presentation shine. So, yeah, it's all you, man.
Okay, so yeah, today we're going to talk about getting started with Bucket. I'm going to walk you through a few of our of the different options inside of Bucket, and yeah, we're gonna see how everything goes. At the end of the call, if you're still having problems, if there's something that we talked about that maybe you didn't get, or if you want some specialized help with your own situation, maybe get you over a hump or something like that, we're gonna be offering free one-on-one calls with either myself or Mr. Nickel or one of our Bucket specialists, and so we'll set the link up for you to set that appointment here at the end of the call. We're going to do a Q&A. So what we're really going to try to do is get those questions answered, get you over whatever hump you're having right now. But like I said, if you're still stuck on something, we're more than happy to set up a one-on-one call with you. So like I mentioned, by the time we're done with this call, you're going to know how to build a discovery survey if you haven't already. And then you're also going to know how to launch a segmentation funnel if you haven't launched one of those already as well. We're going to touch on some of the reporting side of things. We're going to look at a real brief look at integrating your bucket.io account with email and Facebook. But we're not going to go too deep into either of those subjects. We do have help on those and training on those as well. So the big deal here is make sure you know how to get a survey built and how to launch a segmentation funnel so you can start getting some conversions in. So let's start with the core tool that we have inside of bucket.io, and that is the discovery survey. We're going to build one, but there's some of the main points here though, and this works with both the discovery survey and the segmentation funnel tool. The way that the workflow for each of these is you build it with the builder, and I'll walk you through that real quick. Then you design it, you slap on the last of the design tweaks, maybe adding image backgrounds and just some other things. Then you configure it, and that includes making sure that you've got your title tags are all set up, your integrations are all set up, and then finally, once you've done all those three things, you publish it. And we're going to walk you through each of those steps for the discovery survey. So let's do that. Let's jump into it now. Going to jump over here to my Bucket backend. What I'm gonna do is, instead of building one from scratch, I've got a couple that are built in my backend here, and so we're gonna start with one of these. Just so you can see what it looks like. And instead of creating a new one, I've got participants already. I'm going to go ahead and do what's called a clone. And a clone just means we're going to create a copy of our existing survey. Okay? So that way we'll already have things populated. And I'm sure most of you will probably have already seen this specific survey here, because it's the one that we send out before you to get you on the calls. So we're going to take a look at this real quick. There's the first thing I want to point out is this is the build section of a survey, discovery survey here, and so you have the option of using a welcome page, but as you can see here, I don't have a welcome page. See, I'll show you the difference. When you have one, I'm going to hit the save here. When you have one, it'll have welcome page here, and you'll notice that I don't have one on ours. And the reason why, and I'll put one on here in a second, but the reason I don't have one is because when we send someone to this survey, we've already told them that we're sending them to a survey, and we're going to tell them what they're getting out of it. And so what we typically do is we send them straight to the first question in the survey. Yourself, you may want to do the same thing if you're emailing people to come to your survey, but if you're sending people to your survey and you haven't had a chance to tell them, hey, I need you to go take a survey, you can use this optional welcome page here. And the welcome page gives you a chance to, again, just explain what's happening. Hey, please take my survey. And then you might tell them why or what the survey is about. And then you can edit every aspect of this page. So you can add a subheader. You can change the text of your button. You can add a video or an image if you want. And when you add a video, you can add a video from any video hosting company like YouTube, Wistia, Facebook even. Anyone that has embed code, you can jump right in there and paste a video in. I think actually, no, I don't have one. But yeah, so you can add a video from any video hosting company out there. And then you'll just save changes, and now you'll have a welcome page. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because it's not going to fit when I show you the actual finished product. We'll do that. But another thing that you can do on a survey is add every type of question that we have available. So short text, a short text question would be like a one-liner, right? Like, what's your name? What city are you from? You know, things like that. You also have the long text element, which would be something where you could ask like an open-ended question and give them the chance to give a long version of an answer. And so that's what we've got here already. We've got this this long text element. And so what we've done here is we say, so I know how to help you on our call. What part of bucket.io have you struggled with the most, right? And so this will give us a chance to get a long open-ended answer. And there's a couple of options on the long text questions that I want to make sure you're aware of. Number one is you have this option here of choosing the text box height. And you get the option of 1 to 4 different rows. Okay? And so what that means is this is going to be how large the box looks when the person sees it. So I always do 4 rows, just so it looks like they can put in as much information as they want. You may decide you want to only have, you know, a couple of rows. But at the end of the day, this is where you would control that. Now there's another option down, there's 2 options down here. There's the required question where you can require the answer before they move on to the next question. And then you've got the single most important question. If you tack this box, and I'll show you this later on, in the reporting section, bucket.io is going to analyze this question and give you some survey insights onto how to go about scoring each of the responses. And a lot of that is based on whether or not you've chosen this as your single most important question or not. So be sure when you create your survey, if it's going to be the most important question you ask in the survey, make sure you check that little box there. I'm going to save that, and then we're going to look at just another couple of little elements here. This one is the radio button. And the radio button means you can choose one of the multiple choice answers. Okay, so you can see here we've asked, you know, a few different questions for anyone who is actually going through the Ask Companies their masterclass. That's as just one of our customers. And so you can also, another thing to point out for the radio button option is that you have the ability to make it a required question where they have to choose it before moving on, and then there's also the add other option. And if you select this, it'll leave the option for the person going through your survey to choose other, and if they choose other, they're given a text box to fill in to complete their answer. Take that. And then finally, just so you have it here, we're not using it here, but you also have the option of a checkbox. And a checkbox means you can tick every answer that's available. So you would just put your question in, and then for each option, you're telling your users, whoever's taking your survey, that they can tick as many of those boxes as they want. It's like this one, where you could tick required and other. You see what I'm saying? So they would be able to choose each of those options. Cancel that. Now, another option that you have on your survey is to collect contact information from your the person who's taking your survey. So after, oops. Sometimes it does the I may have to do an actual refresh. Anyways, I've seen it do it before. It doesn't do it every time, and so I don't know how to make it happen. Anyways, so what you'll do is you'll drag the contact information over here, and you've got the option of collecting name, email, phone number, and another element on this section. You have just like on your welcome page, you have the ability to control. You can add video if you want to. You can add an image. You can just you can hide all of it and just have them put the information in. Again, you've got these sliders here that will give you access to changing those elements. And I'm going to save this. I'm just going to delete that for now because we didn't really use it. And then finally, you get your thank you page. And this is where you get the option of sending your sending the person who took the survey off to whatever action you want them to take. Like in our case, we wanted to schedule calls, right? And so that's why we would send this link out. And then at the end, we would say, hey, go take a go schedule a call. You could send them to a blog post. And sometimes we send them to our Facebook page, so that we get them to go and like us on Facebook, so they can follow and keep up with bucket.io updates. Again, on your thank you page, you can send them off to wherever you want after they complete your survey. And you get the same options. Oh, and here's where you would put your URL in. So just so you can I want to take a step back. I don't want to push through this too fast. On the thank you page, like I said before, you can send the user off anywhere you want, and the way that you would do that is you've got your button text, and then directly under button text you've got button URL, and that's where you'll send them wherever you decide you want to send them, whether it's to your Facebook. As you can see here, we send it off to a Q80 scheduling for a scheduler, and so on. So I'm going to save that page. And that's it as far as building the survey is concerned. The next step, like I said before, so it's build, design, and then the design area is where we just would put some simple tweaks on the survey itself. So as you can see here, we've got a logo on here, and the way you do a logo is you jump over to header, and then just choose a logo, upload it from your desktop. You can also tell we've got a background here. And the way you do your background is you come over and you can choose it on your thank you pages, you can choose it on your general, on your welcome page, on your contact info page, any page you want to have a background, here's where you would do that. Oops, I clicked back too far. I always do that. So what you're going to want to make sure you do, if you don't want to do like I just did, when you're actually in one of those menus, so like here I was in the background, what you always want to do, instead of clicking out to all your discovery surveys, you just want to back out of that menu there. I do that a lot though, so you may too, but eventually you'll stop. On the configure screen, this is where I talked about earlier. This is where you will configure your basic, your title. If you need to change the name of your survey, this is where you'll do that. You can also set the target number of responses that you're looking for. This is going to help when you set this target. So in this case, it's set to 250. This helps Bucket determine how valuable the responses are, and it helps you with the scoring. So you could change this if your target's not 250, if it's 100, if it's 20, If it's, you know, whatever the number is, you would just put that number in here, and then Bucket will use that in the reporting section when we start analyzing your responses for you to give you better insight. Again, like I said before, configure is also the screen where you'll integrate your email service provider or your email marketing service to bucket.io with Zapier. And it's a real simple process. You just click integrate, and you'll always continue with a test lead, and then you'll head over to Zapier, where you will either log in to accept invite, or you'll sign up for a new Zapier account to accept your invite, and then you just walk through that process. Like I said, I'm not going to go deep into doing this configuration here, but these are the steps to follow. For the Facebook pixel, it's the same thing. You'll do it from the configure screen and choose the Facebook icon. Then you turn it on when you're ready to add your pixel code, and then you just jump over to Facebook in your ads manager, get the pixel code, and then when you come back in, you'll paste it in, pixel code here, and then you can turn on and start configuring your retargeting for your Facebook. I don't really do it a lot. I do it less in Discovery than I do it in Segmentation, but we give you the option to build your Facebook audience using the pixel integration with both tools. And it works the exact same way with both. I will come back to it here in a little bit for the segmentation funnel, just so you can see kind of what it looks like and some of the pre-filled options that we have in there. And that, just save your changes, and then that's it. Now you're ready to publish your segmentation funnel. And publishing is real simple. You just select a domain, one of the Bucket domains, and so let's go here. Let's do Bucket survey. You'll click Publish your Discovery survey. In this case, you can see since we didn't use a welcome page and we didn't use a contact information page, Bucket's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you sure you're ready to publish? And so then we decide, yeah, I want to go ahead and publish anyways. Or if you're like, you know what, I should have put that contact information page, you can go back in and finish your funnel. Otherwise, you can click I understand, publish anyways. Then we'll give you your Bucket URL, and then this is the URL that you'll send off to your survey takers, whether through email, through social, however you plan to. And then that's it. Now you're ready to start accepting responses. I'll just walk through this real quick, and this takes you off to the scheduler. So that is how you set up the discovery survey itself. Now I want to take you through some of the discovery reporting just to give you an idea of what's back there and help you start looking at it. If you already have some responses on some of yours, maybe you've looked at the reporting section and wondered what something means. I'm going to try to walk you through each of the options inside the reporting so you kind of get a look at what is really happening back there and what some of the stuff means. So let's back out all the way to Discovery Surveys. I'm going to pick one that we know has some information inside of it. And what you do to look at the reports is you click on Analytics, okay? And this will take you inside the reporting section. And you can see here how many participants you have out of how many people that saw the survey. And you can see like how many actually participated that saw it. In this case, 60%. How many people completed it once they actually started. So in this case, 100%. And if you have an email capture page, like a contact page, then you have the ability to capture the opt-in rate. In our case, we didn't put a contact information page, so the opt-in rate is 0. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here and show you the word cloud. All right, so just to kind of give you an idea of how the word cloud works. So what it's doing is it's going in and Bucket is analyzing the open-ended questions and giving back the top words that we're using to help you discover which buzzwords or what's the overall sentiment of the responses that are coming in. You have control over what this cloud looks like as well. So we've got here the number of words is 303. Now what you can see is if you start dialing that number of words down, it starts really taking into consideration some of the most used wording. And it'll start kind of pulling some things out that maybe you didn't see at a higher view. Another thing that you can do here is you can come in and select or deselect some of the words. So in this case, maybe getting might not be such a great word for us to be analyzing. Obviously, Zapier is a big one in there. Maybe get rid of need. Maybe some, bucket.io, and then, as you can see, your other words start coming up. So in this case, we knew, wow, we need to get some more how-tos up, right? Talk about Zapiers, talk about Facebook, and survey, things like that. So that a lot of this is built to help you analyze your responses. Now, if you just want to see the responses themselves, you can click up here where it says responses and actually go through the content that they're actually putting in. You can look at your, the open-ended questions. You can get an idea of some of the actual multiple choice questions. And then, if you need to further dive into it and analyze it further, you can always download all your responses into a CSV and open them up using your favorite spreadsheet software. And that's it. That's how the reporting for your survey tool works. You have access to just about everything that comes in. And like I said, Bucket does a lot to try to give you some of the most important details at your fingertips. So you can take a quick look. Is this survey going the right way? Like let's say if you came in here and completions were at 20%. Well, then somewhere you're getting hung up somewhere, right? And so you would know that there's some question in there that you needed to address. So there's a lot of these details right at your fingertips as soon as you click over to the reporting, so you can make those decisions right off the bat. Okay, so we've talked about setting up the discovery tool and running a discovery survey, looking at the discovery reports. So the next section here that we're going to move into is building a segmentation funnel. Okay, and if you're not currently using a segmentation funnel, if you're not sure exactly what that is, basically the segmentation funnels do three things. They segment your leads as they come in. So once the person comes in, you have the ability to help them choose how you can best serve them. They'll tell you their problem, then you capture the lead, and then you give them customized outcomes based on how they segmented themselves so that you can get higher conversions by basically tailoring the experience to each specific user. So let's take a look at one. Actually, I just was going through and building one earlier, and I think I still have it available here. So to get to your segmentation funnels, what you'll do is you'll click on Segment. And if you're making a new one, you would just come here and click Create Segmentation Funnel. And then you would choose the segmentation funnel type. And the reason I'm bringing this screen up here, I'm going to use one that's already existing, but I do want you to take a look at this because you have multiple options here. So when a full page segmentation funnel type means the entire funnel itself is going to be inside of bucket.io. The welcome page, the questions, not really the thank you page, but the bulk of the funnel is all held inside of Bucket. If you choose Button, what we're assuming is that you have your own landing page or your own web page with traffic on it somewhere, and you just want to put a button up, and that'll bring up a pop-up for the segmentation funnel. You could also have an entry, which is a delayed entry timer, so that it would just come up on your own website. The same with the splash, and the same with the exit pop. So if someone's leaving, you can ask them, hey, wait a second, are you a male or female? Or are you this or that? You can, again, start your segmentation process using these different types. For this purpose here, we're just going to be walking through the full pager here. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to, it looks like we have a few participants in here. I'm just going to go ahead and clone this. Like we said, anytime you have any participants, even if sometimes if they're tests, like I'm not 100% sure this is a test, so I wanted to just bounce over and clone a new one. You could always, delete them after you mess with it a little bit, or you can customize it and just leave it, and then start using that one instead of another version. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this up. Now, as you can see, it looks exactly the same as it did when we created our discovery survey. The build section is exactly the same. The process flow for building a segmentation funnel is almost exactly the same as the discovery survey. So again, we're looking at the same screens. There's a few things different here. The first of all, I'm using a welcome page. You'll almost always want to use a welcome page for a segmentation funnel, because a lot of times you're going to be sending traffic to your segmentation funnel, from somewhere else. Whether you're buying advertising or using email or whatever, you want the welcome page set up. And in this case, we're giving away a free book, and we've got little Tony Robbins. And we've got the same exact information that we had on our welcome pages from the discovery tool. You get control over every major aspect. And like I pointed out earlier, you can put video on these pages as well. As long as the video hosting company that you're using, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, Wistia, whoever, as long as they have the embed code, you can use video on your pages. All right, so we've got Tony here. Just going to discard the changes. Now, when we start getting into the main, the meat of our segmentation funnel, the bulk of it is done in the segmentation. And segmentations come when we use radio buttons or checkboxes. In this case here, we're going to be using radio buttons where they can only choose one option, okay? So we've got this first question, which is a radio button. You can see here, we've got the little radio button next to it. So we're going to pop this up, and you can see kind of how we lay out the question, right? So we've got here in the title of it, the question name, yes, Tony, please send me my copy of Business Mastery. Then we've got the Zapier tag. And just a quick explanation of what the Zapier tag does. When you use a Zapier tag, now I can tell Zapier which of these options to send to my email service provider. So if you're using ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, MailChimp, Aweber, whatever you're using, when you set this tag up, you'll tell Zapier, hey, whatever this person chooses, as soon as they put their email address in, send this choice along with it. So if they chose hitting my goals and deadlines, I would know that person, that lead chose hitting my goals and deadlines inside of, let's say, ActiveCampaign, because I use the Zapier tag. So you want to do that on every question. You'll want a Zapier tag on every question that you plan on sending the response to your email provider. Okay, so again, this is a radio button, so they're only going to be able to choose one of these options, okay? Now, I want to show you a couple of other things real quick. We've got another question here, but I want you to see something real fast. And that is... I guess, actually, it's not going to be on there. Oh, okay, I see what happened. So when I cloned it, it lost some of the stuff. So I'm going to show you a couple of other things, and I'm going to come back to this question. I was looking at it, there's a couple of things missing, and I'm going to point them out to you here shortly. So what we have here, the next section here, is where you see where it says drag and drop lead capture page. You might notice I've got a bunch of lead captures. And the reason why is because sometimes you're going to want multiple lead captures on your segmentation funnel. you'll want them to match up to the answer. So in this case, hitting my goals and deadlines, we want a lead capture page that talks about hitting your goals and deadlines. Again, what we're looking for in this case is improving our opt-in rate on the landing page. And then what we've got, just discard the changes. Then what we've got is a hitting my goals and deadlines outcome page. And this means this is the page that they'll see after they answer all the questions, complete the email opt-in form. You'll get a hitting my goals and deadlines outcome page where you're making your offer. And it looks like when you click clone the funnel, looks like I may have lost some of my stuff. So I'm actually going to back out of here. Just going to take one for the team. Sorry, 3 participants. Just going to go ahead and edit because I want you to be able to see it without redoing everything. So we're not doing it on the fly. I want you to see the outcome page here. So as you can see, the hitting my goals and deadlines has its own outcome page, and your copy of Business Mastery is on its way. While you're waiting, check out this quick 3-minute video that reveals one simple way to always hit your goals and deadlines, and then you make your copy around the choice that they made. So you have the option of customizing not just the opt-in page here to collect the lead, but you also have the option of customizing the outcome page. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about, okay, after you've built out your outcome pages, after you've built out your lead capture pages, how do you direct people to the right place, right? So directing people to the outcome is done on the actual segmentation question itself. So in this case, it's what's the #1 roadblock holding you back in your business? We're going to come up here and we're going to click on Map Outcome. All right, and now you can see here that I've got hitting my goals and deadlines goes to the hitting my goals and deadlines outcome. Knowing what's really working today goes to the knowing what's really working today outcome, and so on. What you'll also notice is that I've got feeling overwhelmed on what to do next isn't mapped to anything. And that's because there were 2 types of overwhelm. There was a tech overwhelm and an idea overwhelm. So we don't map them here. I'll show you what we do instead. We do what's called branching logic. And the way you use branching logic is you come up here and click on branching logic. And so what we do here, instead of sending them to one page, since we have 2 different outcomes for overwhelm, we take everyone who answers feeling overwhelmed on what to do next, we drag that over here to Q2, one more question. Everything else goes to the next phase, which is jump to the end of the funnel. Save that. And now we look at this next question here. We'll look at the map outcomes. And now we've got both of these questions mapped to their appropriate outcome. Technology, business ideas are the ones that we use here. So now everything's been mapped. Cancel that. So now every question has been mapped to an outcome. And each of these sections up here has been marked green. If one of those outcomes doesn't have a map to it, it would still be red. All right. So now we've got all green lights. Now we're ready to go to that next phase, which, just like in the discovery survey, is the design phase. And here we could add a logo like we did with the bucket.io survey I showed you earlier. You can go in. As you can see on this one, we've got Tony on the background, and you would do that just here. You just add the background images everywhere you want that background image to be. If you want it to go throughout the entire quiz, you would just make those changes. You would just add it to each one of these options. A lot of times people, they only want it on a specific, like maybe just the welcome page, or maybe just the outcome page, or maybe just the lead capture page. Here's where you make those edits. Once you're done with your design, again, you just go right over to configure. And you just add in, just exactly like with the discovery survey, you add everything in here. You can configure and integrate with your Zapier, integrate with Facebook. Now, the reason I waited till this part because I did want to show you this a little bit. I'm not going to get deep into Facebook pixel integration, but I want you to see. You take your pixel code, you paste it in here. It's really simple, and then for each question response that you want to create remarketing for or create an audience around, you'd simply add those values over here on the screen. Now, we've got a full training for this, and so I'm not going to go too deep, but I just want you to see what that looks like once it's live. Okay, this is where you come to do that. And then you save the changes. You're ready to publish. And then you can publish the exact same way as you did with the tools. You can see this one's already been published. So then you copy that, come over here, paste your URL. This is the URL that you're going to be sending people to. And you've got yourself a cool segmentation funnel ready to go. Free book. Got a little Tony video, got Tony in the background. Now, I want to take a second here because this is where we had made some edits, right? So we've got, yes, Tony, send me my copy of Business Mastery. Now, we remember if we click any of these options, we go straight to the opt-in page for each one. But on this one, remember we had done the, let me come back over here. We did the somebody filled it out while we were doing this. Anyway, so we come back over here, and remember we had done the branching logic for that last question. So we're going to do that here. We're going to click on this, feeling overwhelmed. Hold on. I messed that up because we did a publish. Hope I didn't screw this up. This is the first time I've ever taken like an active live one and edited it. Okay, so here, this is back to where we were. So what I did is I answered that bottom question, and that took us to the branching logic, right? So since we chose that last question, it took us to the ask one more, so we go a little bit deeper. And then here we could choose either technology or business, and as you can see, now it takes you to the how to use Business Mastery to get rid of your tech overwhelm today. And then we just put a test lead in here. And now you can get rid of tech overwhelm without becoming a caveman. So as you can see, now we've got the full customization all the way across. We also told our email provider through our Zapier tag oh my goodness. All right, well, I'm just going to keep doing it. You don't want to ever do this. What I'm doing right now, you don't want to go build it and then go back through and edit it out the way I did it. But what I was saying is we've got this Zapier tag here. So we've also told our email provider that this person they've got tech overwhelm, so that all of our marketing messaging can be around tech overwhelm from that point on. So that is how you build and launch a segmentation funnel. I added a few bells and whistles on it so you can kind of see some of the full access, some of the full functionality. A lot of times you're probably only going to use a quarter of this, like coming up with the segmentation, mapping it straight to an outcome. But as you start getting more advanced and start wanting to squeeze out more conversions, you can start doing things like adding the multiple lead capture pages, adding the branching logic, and getting a little more advanced with your funnel. So that is how you set set up and build and launch a segmentation funnel. Now let's take a look at some of the reporting on it, just so you can have an idea of what's available to you and a little bit of how to use some of this, some of the reporting data to make smart marketing decisions. I'm going to bounce back over to Bucket real quick. And let's take a look at, let's just take a look at an existing, none of these have opt-in rates. I'm just going to take a look at, let's just take a look at this one, just so you can see it, what's in front of you. You just click on the, just like with the discovery survey, you're just going to click on the analytics that's going to bring you to the reports. Right off the bat, you're going to see how many participants, how many people completed it that saw it, and then what is the opt-in rate. This is the number of people that have actually given you their email contact information. So you'll have, again, the most important snapshot is going to be sitting here right in front of you. Next, like let's say you're not sure, you're not really liking the completion or the opt-in rate. So then you can come down and get even more granular. You can see how many people saw your welcome page versus how many people clicked to start the quiz or to start getting into your funnel, right? Then you can see how many people answer each question versus how many people see it. And if you ever start seeing anomalies, like let's say on, let's say we had 3 questions here, and these 2 had really high completions, but nobody's answering that last question. You start seeing a lot of people fall off. Well, then you're like, well, maybe I just get rid of that question so I get more people to my lead capture pages, right? Then you can look at your lead capture stats, how many people saw it versus how many people completed for each lead capture page, right? And so if you're noticing something's not really right on one of them, maybe it's just the copy's bad on one of your lead capture pages and needs to be addressed. Same thing with the outcome stats. You can see how many people hit those, and then if you've got a link that goes out on each of those pages, whether you're sending them off to a checkout page or a PayPal page or something like that, you can always go in and see what is that click-through rate, and you can do all your editing. You can make all your business decisions just by looking at the stats on this screen. And really, this is what this is what sets Bucket apart from a lot of places, because you actually have access at such a granular level so that you can build a higher converting funnel. You're always going to be working towards getting the highest conversions possible. You've got that information right in front of you. And so that's how the reporting works. So putting it all together, we've seen what a discovery funnel looks like, a discovery survey looks like. You've seen a segmentation funnel. A lot of times, the reason why we have both of those tools as part of bucket.io is because they feed each other, right? You go out and run your survey, get the information from that survey, bake it into your segmentation funnels, and always be working using the reporting to get better and better at giving your audience exactly what they need. So, yeah, as it says here, discovery survey gives you the market insight and language to use. Segmentation funnels let you take what you learned and customize the experience, again, for higher conversions. So, what I want to do real quick, we went a little longer than I meant to for me kind of cracking up the segmentation funnel there for a little bit. I do want to have a little Q&A. So, Mr. Nickel, I assume there's a question or two on the chat.
There sure are a couple questions here. The first one being, can you explain in detail what is lost during an edit after publishing, and what can be changed without losing the info?
Sure. So the big thing, the only thing that's really lost when you let me come back over here. The only thing that's really lost when you go into and edit an existing funnel is the response data. So in this case, there had been, what, 3 or 4 people who had given their name and email on this thing, and again, they were tests. So, but that once I click edit and I go through all the are you sure, that information is wiped out. So if you were only storing information in Bucket, then you're going to lose that on both the reporting side and storage in the response side. If you were sending it off to your email service provider, obviously it's not going to wipe it out from there. It'll just wipe it out from inside of Bucket. So if you've got data, always a good idea to clone. Always a good idea.
Very cool. And then we just have one last question on the discovery survey. Is there a redirect option for the thank you page?
No. So there's two options. There's no thank you, where you just get excuse me, just like a system generated thank you page, or you can plug in your thank you. Sorry, I'm just going to get to it real quick. Or you can just plug in a URL for them to go off to. But no, it's not like you're not going to do, you don't have the option on Discovery Tool to send off to, do an automatic redirect. You can on the segmentation funnel, but not on the discovery survey. And that's something I actually didn't even cover. And I'm glad you brought that up. So you can do that on the segmentation funnels. I'll show you. So let's say you already have your own sales pages for each of your different options that you've got, right? So when you go to create an outcome page, you've got the option of using the outcome page like I showed you inside a bucket, or you can use an external redirect, okay? And then you can send them off to whatever page. Now, you could do, if you absolutely want to do an external redirect after they fill out the survey, you could do that. But the only problem is you could do it as a segmentation and just use like the long text and all that. The only problem is you wouldn't get the reporting functionality of the discovery survey, which is the whole point, right? I mean, if you've got a discovery survey, you want to use and get mileage out of the information that comes in. You're not having to do it all yourself by hand. So short answer, no, you can't. You can't do an automatic redirect at the end of a discovery, but you can on a segmentation funnel.
Cool. And the last question here is there a reason why?
No, it's just the way that they set it. It's the way that it's set up. I don't know if there's any particular or philosophical or even tech reason why. I just know that's how it's set up.
Cool. Well, it looks like that was the last question then.
Wow, that is awesome. And it's just in time because it's almost 5 o'clock. So what I would like to do at this point then, Mr. Nicola, if you've got the, do you have the link for the one-on-one calls?
Yes, I do, and actually it's a bucket survey.
Nice.
That will start off. Yep.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do, guys, now is Jeremy's going to put the link to our schedule. So if you do want to get on a one-on-one call, this would be a perfect opportunity to cover anything. You can cover anything we talked about on this webinar. If there's something else outside of what we covered here that you need help on, the main goal here is to get you over whatever hump you're on, whatever's got you stuck, and not either getting survey responses or getting conversions on your segmentation funnels. So whatever your issue might be, if you just need an eyeball or two to look at what you've got and to tell you, maybe, hey, what have you tried this or that, to look at all the options, this is your invitation to get on the phone with us. It's a courtesy from the company. And we don't, there's not very many spaces available, so you'll definitely want to take a look and see if if there's a spot that's good for you. But we're more than happy to jump on the phone with you and get you unstuck. So this is your invitation to do that. If you just need to, if you want to look at any of the things that we talked about here, you can always jump into the help on our knowledge base. Or you can reach us through the in-app messaging. If it's maybe a little more urgent, or you need access to something, you can always email us at support@bucket.io as well. So the big idea here is that you can get in touch with us and get our help any way that best suits you. And I don't know, do you have anything else that you'd like to add, Jeremy, or?
Nope, I think that's good, man. Definitely a stellar job covering everything.
Good. Well, we're here for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll look forward to working with you. Talk to you soon.
See you later.